Hello, I'm Ghost Hunter Joe, and you're watching Ghost Hunter Joe and Friends. During the past 4 years, I have published well over 100 videos. I would appreciate your liking and subscribing to my channel should you happen to like this type of content. Today's video is Too Close for Comfort. In it, we will take a look at whether or not spirits in past investigations communicated with us through my K2 meter, or if sometimes we're holding our cell phones or other devices too close to the meter. This is my K2 meter. I purchased it in 2019. It is one of my favorite pieces of ghost hunting equipment. It is an EMF detector. EMF stands for electromagnetic fields. The theory behind EMFs and ghost hunting is that spirits are made up of energy, specifically electrical energy. So if we're in the middle of the woods or cemetery and there are no electrical devices or electrical telephone wires in the area and the detector goes off, it is believed we may have made contact with a spirit if there are no other logical explanations. In August of 2024, my godson Thomas and I, and my ghost hunting friend and co-worker Heather and I, investigated at the location where in 1976 Mansfield, Ohio police officer Michael Hutchinson had been murdered. I published 3 videos titled Slain Police Officer, Parts 1, 2, and 3. Part of our investigation included a K2 meter session where this slain police officer allegedly lit up the K2 meter while Thomas read from the Ohio Peace Officer Man Down page. As you watch the following video clip, ask yourself if the hits on the K2 meter are due to Thomas holding his iPhone too close to the K2 meter. But also ask yourself if the K2 meter is detecting electrical energy that is being emitted from Thomas's phone, why it seemingly only reacted to certain parts of the narrative and did not stay on during Thomas's entire reading.
Patrolman Michael Hutchinson was shot and killed when he and his partner responded to a grocery store where a man attempted to cash a check stolen the day before during a purse snatching. When they arrived at TNA Market at 660 South Diamond Street in Mansfield at 4:15 p.m., the subject ran from the building with Patrolman Hutchinson in pursuit. When Patrolman Hutchinson caught up to the man, he was shot in the arm and knocked down. As he was on the ground, the man shot him again in the side. The suspect also shot and wounded Patrolman Hutchinson's partner before stealing both of their weapons. The suspect and 2 accomplices were apprehended a short time later. The 32-year-old gunman was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death on May 27, 1976.
In September of 2024, my ghost hunting friend Dustin and I investigated at former Ohio Governor Mordecai Bartley's grave in Mansfield, Ohio. As with the previous video clip, let's watch as Dustin reads from an internet description on Governor Bartley's life. As you watch, ask yourself if Dustin is holding the K2 meter far enough away from his iPhone that he is reading from, and or if the spirit of the 19th century politician is possibly communicating with us. And, as before, also ask yourself if the K2 meter is detecting electrical energy from Dustin's phone, why was it only doing so sporadically and did not stay on the entire time Dustin was reading?
Mordecai Bartley, December 16, 1783 to October 10, 1870, was a Whig politician from northeastern Ohio. He served as the 18th governor of Ohio. Bartley succeeded his son Thomas W. Bartley as governor, one of few instances of this happening in the United States in high offices.
In November of 2024, my godson Thomas and I investigated at the grave of my friend and co-worker Tommy, who was murdered in 1992 by an inmate at the Mansfield Correctional Institution. Let's watch the following video clip as Thomas reads off of his iPhone from the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections Officer Down page. Once again, if the K2 meter is merely detecting electrical vibes from the iPhone, why doesn't it stay on continuously, as opposed to only sporadically at certain parts of the narrative?
Thomas is going to read from the Department of Corrections Officer Down page. Can you touch the meter
if you agree with what he's saying. Go ahead, Thomas.
Correction Officer Tommy Davis was stabbed to death by an inmate who snuck up behind him and stabbed him in the back with a homemade knife at the Mansfield Correctional Institution. Officer Davis was transported to a local hospital where he succumbed to his wounds early the next morning. The 32-year-old inmate was a member of the Aryan Nation, serving a life sentence for a murder conviction in 1980. He was only convicted of felony assault for Officer Davis's murder and received an additional 12 to 15 years. He has a parole hearing in September of 2024.
This last video clip was recorded in June of 2024 with my ghost hunting friend and co-worker Gabe at the old Licking County Jail North Door. Unlike the previous video clips, I am reading from a plaque erected near the north door and not reading from an iPhone. As you watch, ask yourself what is making the K2 meter seemingly respond to our investigation.
Okay, on July 8th, 1910, Deputy Marshal Carl Etherington was killed for enforcing the county option law, which prohibited the sale of alcohol in Licking County. The county option law was a result of the Rose Law of 1908 and a precursor to the National Prohibition Act, the 18th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Etherington shot the owner of an illegal saloon in self-defense. Later that day, he was forcefully removed by a mob through the Licking County Jail's north side door. He was beaten and then hanged from a telegraph pole on the southeast corner of the square. Deputy Marshal Carl Etherington's death has been recognized in the line of duty death by the following organizations: National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, Ohio Peace Officers Memorial, the Officer Down Memorial page. Okay, how accurate was that story I just read? Can you touch the meter to let us know it was true? Did you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's a true story? Thank you.
Those who have followed my channel these past 4 years know that I like to maintain a healthy skepticism of all things paranormal and supernatural, as well as keep an open mind. Therefore, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the various ghosts featured in this video were definitely communicating with us through the K2 meter. But in response to criticism that we are holding the K2 meter too close to our iPhones and it was merely detecting electrical energy from our iPhones, I would like to offer this following defense. Common sense tells us that ghosts do not have unlimited energy, and it takes energy for them to do the many and various things that we ask them to do to prove their presence to us, such as crossing dowsing rods, moving pendulums, turning flashlights on and off, talking to us through digital recorders and spirit boxes, etc. So where do they get this energy? It's my guess that they get it in any way they can, including from ionized air after an electrical storm, by draining our batteries from our cameras and phones, and from nearby electrical wiring, etc. Some of the professional ghost hunters seen on television use special equipment that pumps energy into the air so that ghosts can use this energy during their investigations. Trust me, I do not have a budget that would allow for the purchase of such equipment. But the point that keeps coming back to me is that if the K2 meter is merely detecting energy from our phones, why didn't the K2 meter stay on continuously as opposed to seemingly responding intelligently to us? I would really appreciate your thoughts on this in the comments. And this is Ghost Hunter Joe saying goodbye and see you next time.